Hi, everybody. We are on day 111. The high in my area is 69 degrees. So we're going back to the varsity red. So for this next row, we're going to do 1 double crochet in the first space, 3 double crochets in every other space all the way down to the end. And we're going to end with 2 double crochets and a chain 3 space. I hope everyone's enjoying birthday week in the stories, my personal stories, and then Reddit stories. There are affiliate links linked below. If you click on any of them and purchase something, I do receive a small commission. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. So I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a post with men talking about their worst dates ever and what made it their worst dates. And it reminds me of an event that happens in my, I guess, mid-20s. So backstory, I met this guy through a friend of a friend. She thought as soon as she saw me, she's like, oh my God, you'd be perfect together. He's such a nice guy. I really think y'all make a cute couple, stuff like that. And so we met up and I think we went out to the movies. And then we went somewhere else, but it wasn't like date vibes. It was like he's a cool person. Not really interested in dating him, but we became friends. So I think later that year, around his birthday, I was like, oh, what are you gonna do for your birthday? And he was like, no, I don't really celebrate my birthday. Um, Plans usually fall through or things happen, so I'm not really gonna do anything. Now, me, I'm huge on birthdays. I think everyone should celebrate birthdays and have a good time. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but just something, just have a good day. So I was like, no, you should do something. He was like, I'll think about it. So maybe a week or so before his birthday, he's like, okay, I decided there's a party and I want to go out to this party. And he works a lot. He does not go out much. So I was like excited that he was going to get to go out for his birthday to a party. And he asked me if I wanted to come and I said, sure. So he told me the time and he told me what time he would pick me up. So the day of the party, he picks me up around the time that he said he was going to pick me up. And I get in the car and he told me that he had friends that were going to come too. But there was nobody else in the car. So I'm assuming the friends are going to be meeting him at the club. But then we get in the car and I know where the club is and he's not driving that direction. I was like, oh, where you going? And he's like, I'm going to pick up my friends. And I'm like, oh, where do they live? And he's like, oh, they live maybe 5 minutes from me in the same city. Now, mind you, me and him don't live in the same city. He lives maybe 15 minutes away from me. And then the club we were going to is like 20 minutes away from me. And it's in the opposite direction of where he lives. The club is closer to my house than it is to his house. So where he's driving, we're driving backwards. So I was like, oh, why didn't you pick up your friends first before you came to me? And he said because they weren't ready yet when I called them. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, in my head, if it was me, they would have just got left. But it's his birthday. If he wants to pick them up, okay. So he drives back in that direction to his friends. Mind you, we still get there, and they are not ready. We had to wait another 10 minutes. He picked me up around 10. So by the time we get to them and get to their house, it's like 10:20, and then we had to wait, so now it's 10:30. Now we still have to drive, and the club is maybe 30 minutes from their house to the club. So they finally get in the car. We're talking. We get to the club. It's like 11. I go to the door first. They check my ID and everything, and I stand in the doorway right by the entrance waiting for everybody else to come in. He gets carded. They let him in. Then his friend goes up. She gives her ID, and they tell her she can't come in. And so I'm like, oh, what's going on? I come back out. I notice like she's not walking in. I was like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, they won't let me in the club. And I was like, oh, what's going on? Why won't you let her in the club? And the bouncer was like, she's not 21. And then I look at her, not saying anything about anybody. Um, she looks older than me, and I'm well over 21 at this point. So I'm like, well, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 20. I was like, will you be 21 in a couple months? So I'm like, oh no, they're not letting you in this club. So now we're staying outside the club since she can't get in, and they have the other person there was her boyfriend. And so in my head, I'm like, this is a 21 over club. Why did you think they were going to let you in? But I didn't say this out loud, just in my head. So we're standing outside, and I'm like, oh, so what do you guys want to do next? It's like 11:20, 11:30. I'm like, we could try to find somewhere else to go. But they were like, no, I guess we can just go back home. This is her. The birthday boy is not saying anything. So he's like, oh, if y'all want to go back home, okay, I'll take you back home. So in my head, I'm pissed off for him because not only did we have to wait for them, they were late coming out to him, and now we can't go in a party because he's being nice, in my opinion, and he doesn't want to party without his friend. So now we just drove a half an hour from their house to this club, and now we're about to drive a half an hour back. So on the way back, not much conversation until we get close to the house. And she's like, oh, maybe we should go get something to eat. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like, maybe she wants to take him out since we didn't get to go to the club. Maybe we can go to like a dinner or something like that. And she was like, no. I don't want to sit down nowhere. Just take me to Wendy's. So he goes to the drive-thru. They order their food. Didn't offer him a thing. And he drops them off home. So now we're in the car. And it's pretty silent. And I feel bad. And I'm like, wait, it's your birthday. You didn't get to do anything. I'll take you to a diner. Because by this time, it's like midnight. I'll take you to a diner. Because I didn't know a lounge in his area. Because I really don't know much about the city he lives in. But we found a diner. We went to go eat. And it was a nice little dinner. The food was pretty good. And we were having a good conversation. So I offered, because it's his birthday, I'll pay for the meal, and then I ordered him like a slice of cake because your birthday. And he's like, no. I don't want you to pay. I know it's my birthday, but I invited you out. But I insisted because it's his birthday. So I go and I pay for him and me. Before I pay for it, while we're talking and having dinner, two of his friends called him. One called him, wished him birthday. And then another one called saying like, oh man, what you doing? And it's like, oh, it's my birthday. Mind you, the friend, he mentions his birthday. His friend never said happy birthday to him. He says, my birthday, and I'm out having dinner. He's like, oh, okay. You need to pick me up. Not can you come pick me up? Like, you need to pick me up. My car is acting up, and I just got off of work, so I ain't got nowhere to get back home. You need to come pick me up. And once again, I'm like, he is super calm because he didn't go off or nothing. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll pick you up. And he's like, oh, by the way, where you eating at? And he told him the place. He was like, well, get me this meal. And I'm like, what the heck? How you going to tell me what to do? Not ask me, because I hear this conversation because he's talking real loud. And you're going to tell me what to do. You're not asking me. So this guy, he buys this man this meal. Oh, and he asked for something extra too because he wanted lunch for the next day. So when the check comes, I was like, I said I'll pay for you. So I paid for him and us and his little birthday cake. And he paid for his friends basically 2 meals. So we sing happy birthday, me and the waitresses. And then we get up, we leave. And we pick up his friend. His friend's job is closer to his house than my house. So we pick up his friend, get in the car, and his friend is like, oh, is this your girl? And da-da-da-da. Mind you, still never said happy birthday to this man. And he's like, no, this is my friend. Like, da-da-da. And he was like, oh, that ain't your girl. If she was with me, I would snatch her up and do da-da-da. And I'm like, why you being so rude? And just say hi. How you doing? I'm so-and-so. No. He was like, well, can I get your number since you ain't dating him? And I was like, no, sir, I'm not interested. Then he starts going off. He was like, oh, you think you too good? It's because I ain't got no car right now. I got a job. You just picked me up from work. And he going off on his tangent. And I was like, no, sir, I'm not interested. So after that, he was still talking, but I was just ignoring everything he was saying. And once again, the guy in the front is my friend is not saying anything. It was just like an awkward ride back to my house. So we get back to my house. I once again say happy birthday to him, and I hope he have a good night and whatever. So that was his birthday. The next day, he texts me and says, "Thank you so much for spending time with me. That was the best birthday ever." And I was just like, oh, I'm happy that he felt it was a great day. But in my head, I'm like, that's the best birthday ever? I don't even want to know what the rest of your birthdays were like. So that is my story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Till next time. Bye.